From Triple-A for New York, he has surrendered 2 home runs in the game so far, both to Giancarlo Stanton, a 3-run blast and a solo shot. Marlins 4-0 over the Mets in the 3rd inning. Also in the 3rd, the Blue Jays and the Rays are scoreless. In the National League, the Cardinals lead the Braves early, 1-0 in the 1st. Matt Carpenter, a solo shot, his 7th of the year for St. Louis. One other big game coming up in about 10 minutes, Red Sox and the Twins. Chris Sale against Irvin Santana in that one. 2 of the better pitchers right now. And the Bengals have signed the overall 9th pick, John Ross. This is NBC Sports Radio.
Kcaa mourns the loss of Dr. Albert Karnick, President Emeritus of California State University, San Bernardino, and founder of the Infant Toddler Success Program. Our thoughts and prayers are with his family and friends in this time of loss. Let's honor his legacy by working for a stronger and better Inland Empire.
In the mood for some great Chinese food? Well, Mr. Yu's Chinese Food is where you need to be. Mr. Yu's Chinese Food not only has a delicious dinner menu, they also offer delicious lunch specials including their yummy fried rice and chow mein. But get this, it also includes any 2 items just for $5.85. Or you can get any 1 item for only $4.85. You should also try their Big Bowl special for just $4.10. The service is fast and friendly. Mr. Yu's Chinese Food is located at 256 Carousel Mall in San Bernardino, California. To contact Mr. Yu's Chinese Food, call 909-383-0195. Again, that's 909-383-0195. And yes, the Carousel Mall is still open.
That's right!
This is Pastor Greg from Chosen Generation Radio Show, heard right here on KCAA, 1 p.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays. Do any of these sound familiar? Not sleeping well, waking up tired, drinking more coffee than usual, can't stay focused, craving sugary drinks and snacks, feel like you're stuck on a treadmill, having trouble managing your weight, not sick but not firing on all cylinders? Any one of these could mean that you might have a system overload, and Thyroadrenal might just be right for you. Think about it. You've probably been feeling like this for a while. Life has a way of wearing you down, and if you aren't getting the right nutrients, then physical and emotional wear and tear will take its toll. Most of us at some time or another could use some nutritional support for our adrenal and thyroid glands to bring things back in balance. Our bodies respond well to optimal nutrition to keep daily energy levels up and stress levels down. Try Thyroadrenal from Michael's Naturopathic Programs, a nourishing support formula with vitamins, minerals, and herbs to put back what life takes out. Look for Michael's on the label. We're serious about good health. Thyroadrenal is available at leading health food stores nationwide. If you don't see it on the shelf, then ask for it by name. Thyroadrenal.
Psst. Hey, you. Yeah, you. Do you know where you are? Well, you've done it now. You're listening to KCAA Loma Linda, your CNBC news station. So expect the unexpected.
I'm sick and tired of hearing things from uptight, short-sighted, narrow-minded hypocrites. All I want is the truth. Just give me some truth. I've had enough of reading things by neurotic, psychotic, pig-headed politics.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Truth Only Show here on KCA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and 102.3 FM. This is the Truth Only Show. We're back. It is Sunday at 11:05. We're here for a new show, new message for the week, and we would like to invite you to go to truthonlyshow.com. On truthonlyshow.com, you can find our previous videos of previous episodes, and you can also find our email and how to get in contact with us. Now, here's the host of the show, David Rodriguez.
Thank you very much for being with us today, and I want to welcome all of you here on the Truth Only Show, where I believe we have the most intelligent audience in the world. Intelligent because you are all of you are, instead of just listening to a bunch of opinions, you get to hear the truth about yourself, and you begin to discover who you truly are. So we want to thank you all for being with us, and I want to give some special thanks to the people that make this show possible. Our engineer, Mr. Joe Pagano, our webmaster, Mr. Joel Strausser, and my co-host and producer, Michael. And anyways, just want to thank you all. We have a great show for you today. I'm going to have to tie in a little bit about what I talked about last week, because I think we had something, we had a little issue with our website, and I think last week's show did not come out. If you have an iPhone, I think you can hear it and watch it on a computer or an Android phone. I believe you can probably watch it and listen to it. But I think it's something to do with Apple and the iPhone. So I know, because that's what I have, and I had trouble getting on the show from last week. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover a little bit about what I talked about last week, because I think it's very important. And for those of you that are just listening for the first time, I want to give you a little idea of what we talk about here. We talk about human nature. In other words, this show is about you. We're not talking about other people, about the politics or anything that. We're not giving opinions. All we're going to do here on this show is we're going to tell you the truth about yourself, of who you are, your true nature, and the creative power of your mind, because your mind is creative. And that's what I think all of us should learn. We should all know that about ourselves. And so we can begin to use this creative power in our favor. Take advantage of all the good that there is in life available to you. And that's what we're here to do. So my topic today is perfection. And I know that you might be thinking, oh no, what is he talking about, perfection? Humans aren't perfection. I know that all of us have been told that all the time. We've always been told that man is this, man is bad, man is a sinner, man is all these other things. And then we look around in the world, we see all the crime, we see the drugs, we see the war going on. So we think, remember, we think that that's true, that man is imperfect. Well, we're going to show you, present you all the evidence that I believe that you need, so you can understand that that is false. It is false to think that man is imperfect. And you need to pay attention and follow along with me. And I think you're going to be able to understand that you are perfect. In other words, your mind does work perfectly. It's just that when you're being told the opposite, it's kind of hard to understand that. It's kind of hard to see that. You know, the great teacher said, do not judge by appearances. Because sometimes things appear to be a certain way, and you may believe that things are a certain way, but you could be totally wrong. They just may appear to be that way. So that's what we're going to try to do and point out for you today. You know, there's a church over by my house, and I see it regularly. There's a big sign outside that says, "No perfect people allowed." Well, when I go by there, when I see that sign, I think that place must be empty, because if no perfect people are allowed, they don't allow perfect people in there. So the place must be empty, because I don't see it the way they see it. I don't see it that way at all. I want to give you the truth about that. Perfection. Now, perfection. We do make mistakes. There's no doubt about it. All of us make mistakes. But that's not really what I'm going to talk about as far as perfection. I'm going to talk more about that you need to understand that if you think about your life, what you're experiencing in your life, basically matches your overall thinking about yourself, your overall belief about yourself. In other words, if you are believing about yourself, if you've been believing that about yourself, that you are limited financially, if you've been believing about yourself that your relationships are bad, as long as you continue to believe that about yourself, you will experience that. That is what you are experiencing, what you are dwelling on, what most of your thinking is about. That's the perfection that we're talking about. You can change what you believe about yourself, and your life will change, and it is perfect. Do we make mistakes? Of course. All of us do. But I know that your overall thinking about yourself matches what you are experiencing. If you're sad and depressed and stressed, think about what you think about. It matches. In other words, what you are experiencing on the outside is what is going on in the inside. It's perfect. A rich man does not believe that he is poor. A poor man does not believe that he is rich. Think about it. That's what we're talking about here. Now I'm going to give you a couple of examples of why that is true, what I'm telling you. That's why I said I'm going to go back and repeat a little bit about what I talked about last week. Last week, I talked about spiritual prototypes. And I explained to you that everything has a spiritual prototype. Don't think it's anything complicated. It's not. This is a very simple concept. It might sound complicated because maybe you've never thought this before. Maybe you have never gone there before. Maybe nobody has ever presented this to you. But I'm telling you that everything has a spiritual prototype, which means this, very simply. Look at any object right now and think about this, about that object. Someone had to think that object into existence. In other words, it was a thought first. Things do not just, if you're looking at a chair or if you're looking at your phone or if you're driving in your car, think about your car. It did not pop out of the ground like magic. Neither did your phone, neither did your shoes, your clothes. Nothing just pops out of thin air from nowhere. Everything came from a thought first. Everything that exists came from a thought first. In other words, it was an invisible thing first. It was an idea first. It was an invisible prototype first before it became a physical object. And everything that you can see around you exists because of that process. That is the process that it went through. It had to. It's impossible that it would be here any other way. So I'm going to go back and repeat what I said. Everything has a spiritual prototype. A thought first, and then the physical existence. In other words, thoughts are things. That is what I talked about last week. Now, I think you can follow along what I'm saying. So now think about when we're talking about perfection. If everything has a prototype, and I think you understand what everything means, right? I think you can understand that word, everything. If everything has a prototype, spiritual prototype, it's a thought first. So are all the issues in your life. Your limitations have a spiritual prototype. Your problems, your worries, your stress that even take on a physical, even that you can even get sick. It can even cause you to have a drug problem. It's a spiritual prototype first because that's what you're thinking about and that's what you are creating. Everything has a spiritual prototype. Now, I think it should be making some sense to you. If everything has a spiritual prototype, that means that everything is perfect. Because that means that everything is being created by thought. It's perfect. So what I'm saying is that you're always making something. You're always creating something. You cannot stop. You cannot stop thinking. You cannot stop creating something. So think about it. Is it perfect? Of course it is. Everything in the universe actually is perfect. Gravity works perfectly. I don't think you'll ever get on top of a building and jump off and not go down and hit the ground. I think it's going to happen all the time. Electricity works perfectly as long as you hook everything up the way it's supposed to perfectly. As long as you hook everything up, it's going to work for you all the time. It's perfect. The sun comes out every day. It's perfect. The earth continues to produce. It's perfect. So if you think about it, there's all this perfection around us, but then man, through his ignorance and through his own deception, he deceives himself, thinks that there's something that is outside of this imperfection. We talk about God is perfect, and all of his creation must be perfect, because something perfect is not going to create imperfection. That's a big contradiction in itself. You are perfect. Your mind does work perfectly. Confused thinking causes confusion. It's perfect. Right thinking, like I said about electricity, right thinking will make electricity work perfectly. Right thinking will change your life for the good. It's right thinking. I mean, there's just perfection all around us. That's all there is. Atoms, molecules, cells, they all know what to do. They all know what to do. When the cells get together, when a human is born, all the cells know what to do. They know what to become. Skin, eyes, blood, brains, bones. They all know what to do. I mean, think about it. Think about it. Think about what you think about the most. And think about it seriously. If you're always worrying, do you notice that your life doesn't go so well? If you're always worrying, do you notice that you don't have all the joy that you could have? It's perfect. Where's the imperfection? Now I'm going to give you the final point right out of Scripture. In James 1, verse 25, it says clearly, so clearly, it talks about the perfect law of liberty. The perfect law of liberty. And it tells you, you must investigate the perfect law of liberty. It goes on to tell you more, but I'm going to keep it as simple as I can. Think about it. The perfect law of liberty. That's what the scripture is all about. It's about your liberty. What it means about your liberty, that you are free to think whatever you choose to think about. And remember, everything has a spiritual prototype. Put it together now. Put it all together. A spiritual prototype. Everything has a spiritual prototype, which means that what you think about, you are creating something, and you cannot stop creating something. So if your life is a mess, and you're stressed, and you're worried, and you're living in a very limited life, it is because that's the way you think. You are creating those types of spiritual prototypes. But because of the perfect law of liberty, you do have a choice. You can choose to change what you think about. That's what the perfect law of liberty is. And again, it says the perfect law of liberty. Talking about perfection. That's the perfection that you have. I can do it right now. I can choose to see myself at a beautiful beach in Hawaii, just laying out in the sand, having a wonderful time with my family and everybody, just having a beautiful time. I can do that right now. I can do that anytime I want. If I choose to, I can do that in the major part of my day. I can see myself like that, having a wonderful time somewhere, anywhere in the world. I can do that. Remember, everything has a spiritual prototype. The more I do it, the more my life is going to head in that direction. My life will become more peaceful. I will begin to see some more pleasure in my life. Things will look much better because I am creating that spiritual prototype. Because I'm beginning to imagine it. I'm seeing it in my life as I begin to see it as being real. And I want to give you an idea, remind you about another great thinker. Albert Einstein. What did he say? Imagination is greater than knowledge. He's talking about imagine your life, see it, create it, think it, create the spiritual prototypes that you would like to experience, and one day you will experience it. Everything has a spiritual prototype. And you do have, there is this perfect law of liberty that says you can think whatever you want. You are free. Nobody has you stressing about everything in life. Nobody has you worried. Nobody has you making yourself sick. You're doing it to yourself. You're creating that experience yourself. If you are living a limited life, you are doing it to yourself. I mean, I hate to be bringing this. I mean, I have to do it. I have to just tell you the truth. Sometimes it's hard to accept. It's hard to accept responsibility, but that's the truth. All your past matters for nothing. Whatever you did in the past doesn't matter. Right now at this moment you can change anything. Past doesn't matter. And your age doesn't matter either. Doesn't matter how old you are. You can do it right now. So now, I hope you got a better understanding of what we're talking about. Perfection. It is perfect. You are perfect. The human mind is creative. It creates what it dwells on. That's what it does. And you have the liberty to change whatever you think about. Remember, you're listening to KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, or 102.3 FM. This is the Truth Only Show. We're at trutholnyshow.com. Don't go away. We'll be right back after a short break, and we're going to have a conversation, discussion on this subject. We'll be right back.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Truth Only Show here on KCA Radio. We are talking about perfection. And I think since you're talking about perfection, why don't you start off by explaining what you talked about last week? Because you said it ties in, right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, so explain what spiritual prototype, and then we'll move on to this week.
well, I basically did, but
Yeah.
I'll if you want me to explain again, if you look at any object, it's a physical thing that you can see, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the spiritual prototype means that it was a thought first. Somebody had to think about how to make it. It had to come into somebody's mind first. They had to see it in their mind and then make it,
Yeah.
right? Well, when they were seeing it in their mind, it was an invisible thing. That's what a spiritual prototype is. It's and everything that you can see came into existence with that process. It was an invisible thing first.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a spiritual prototype. So the point is that everything has a spiritual prototype, even all your problems and your worries and your stress and your hate and your anger and your sickness, all your illnesses. They really, really, I know this is very difficult to believe, but, you've ever heard of healing of the body? Well, the mind is a powerful thing, but if you don't believe it, very difficult to do.
And then you started talking about perfection, and then you mentioned that church that says no perfect people allowed. But what do you mean by you not agreeing with that? No perfect people allowed, because
Well, because they're teaching false things to the people. They're telling what they're telling. Well, think about it. They're telling the people they are imperfect. That's what they're teaching the people there. It's obvious. They're telling them that you're bad, that you're sinners, man. It's being taught all over the place. Man is bad, man is sinners, man's nature is bad. That is so false. I mean, we are made in the image of God. First, 1 week they're telling you you're made in the image of God, and then the next time you're telling you that man's nature is bad. Well, then if man's nature is bad, well, God's nature is bad. I mean, it's that simple. Come on, there too many contradictions. There's just too many contradictions. If man's nature is bad, well, then I'm made in the image of God, so that means his nature is bad. And I see his only just to use that term, whatever.
But what about
we're talking about?
What about when people say nobody's perfect, like in the fact that people make mistakes?
Well, right.
I mean,
Ignorant, bad. Look you're free to think whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
You're free to think that you are the dumbest person in the world. You're free to do that.
Yeah.
You're free to think that you have no intelligence. You're free to think that you're a bad person. You're free to do all you want. That's what you're going to experience.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, you're free to do that. And that is perfect. Keep thinking that you are limited and that you're not smart, that you're all these things. That's the way you're going to live. That's the perfection that you have. Your life goes perfectly in the direction that you believe about yourself. And if you don't believe me, going back to the church, the great teacher said, "It is done unto you as you believe." He was talking about perfection.
Well, then I would say that it's the law that works perfectly, not us, because if it worked perfectly, we'd be doing it.
The law is perfect.
Yeah, the law is perfect.
The law is perfect. Sure it is. But ignorance to the law, it doesn't excuse you.
Yeah, I know.
So
But
the law says that you will live by what you believe about yourself. That's how you will live. That's the law. Now you're free to believe anything about yourself that you want. You're free. The perfect law of liberty. That's what I just talked about. The perfect law of liberty. And it is a perfect law because you are totally free to think about yourself and believe about yourself whatever you want. That's the law. And it's perfect.
Yeah.
That's the perfection.
That's what I would say, though.
Okay.
It's perfect, not us.
No.
because
No,
even if you know this,
no,
you still might make a mistake and think something bad once in a while. You can't control it 100% perfection. Control your thoughts.
and then you will have the bad result.
Yeah,
It's perfect.
that's what I'm saying. It's the law that's perfect, not us.
Well, okay, we can call it whatever we
Yeah.
want. We can say the law or whatever, but it's perfect. In other words, we're in a world of perfection. We live in a world of perfection. We don't live, here. If let's look at it this way. If you know that's true, right?
Yeah.
You know what I just talked about today is true.
Yeah.
That you have free will, you this perfect law of liberty, you are free to think whatever you want, and you will create because of the law, okay? Because of the law that exists that is perfect, you are free to think whatever you want. You have a choice. You can pick and choose whatever you want. So if you're suffering, that's your choice.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So all the war and killing and drugs and all that goes on in the world, do you think that they choose to be on drugs? Or are they ignorant to the truth? I think it's more to the ignorant to the truth, because who wants to live a miserable life? Who wants to really? Do you think anybody really wants to? I think human beings really would love to live a great life, a beautiful life. Okay? So it's obviously ignorance to the law.
Yeah, but don't people do things that aren't necessarily good for them all the time, and they do it anyway?
Yes, but I think
to, right?
Yes, but I think here's the point. When you're ignorant to the law, you are making the bad choice because you're ignorant to the law. But when you learn the truth, here I go again. Know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. That is not being taught. Only on this show that I know of, really. Now, there's some other places, but I'm not going to go into the very few places where it's being taught. But in general, the truth is not being taught. I mean, what? We're going to say all the religions are teaching truth? Well, if they were, this would be a beautiful world that we live in. But obviously, half-truths are being taught. Half-truths. Because many people are attending their churches regularly, but still suffering in this life. So obviously, either what Jesus was teaching, know the truth and the truth shall set you free, is either a lie or it's a truth that's not being taught. Because I think he was teaching us the truth when he said, know the truth and the truth shall set you free. Well, then if you're not set free, you're not learning the truth. I mean, how much simpler can it get? If you're not set free and you're struggling, set free means set free from all the issues of life that hurt you, that make your life miserable, that make your life difficult. Set free from all those things is what he was talking about. And if you're not set free from all of those things, you're not learning the truth. You should look for something else. You should go somewhere else where you're going to learn the truth, because that's the judge. That's how you can judge whether you're learning truth or not. If you're struggling with illnesses and struggling with relationships and all that, but still you're attending your church and you're facing all those things in life, you are not learning the truth. It's obvious. Because the truth sets you free from all that. I would suggest to anybody that is suffering and struggling, search for truth. And that's all we teach here. I'm not giving you opinions. We don't give opinions. You know that, Michael.
Yeah.
We don't give opinions on the show. We just give the truth. That's it.
But knowing the truth is not enough, right? You have to actually use it. You have to put it into practice. Right?
Well, yeah. I mean, but first you got to learn it. First you got to learn it. Once you know the truth, then you can slowly, as you put it into practice, you will begin to be set free. And it is true. It does work. It is the only thing that will set you free. There is nothing else that will set you free. I mean, I've told, I've heard it all my life. Oh, you just got to believe in God. Well, you know what? I have news for a lot of people. A lot of people might feel the same way. Since I was a child, I always believed there had to be some kind of a God. I've always believed that. I've never doubted that. I don't think we just popped out of here from nowhere from some. So I always figured there was something behind all of this. Something. I didn't know what it was or anything. And I always believed there was some behind it. So that means I've always believed in God. But did that help me? No. I mean, I suffered for years, and I still had the belief in God, but I suffered for years. What I didn't know was the truth. And everywhere you go, I don't care what church you go to, what religion you go to, they tell you, oh, you just got to believe in God. Sorry, folks. I hate to tell you, but I had that belief all my life, and I still do.
Yeah.
But it never helped me. There had to be more, and I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that can say, yes, you believe in God, but you're struggling in life because you are not learning the truth. The truth shall set you free, and only the truth shall set you free. Attending religious institutions is not enough. It's not enough.
Yeah. Let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll discuss this a little bit more.
I think we're going to have a caller when we come back.
Okay.
Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Every night I'm lying in bed, holding you close in my dreams, thinking about all the things that we said and coming apart at the seams. We tried to talk it over, but the words come out too rough. I know you were trying to give me the best of your love. Beautiful faces, loud empty places. Look at the way that we live, wasting our time on cheap talk and wine. Left us so little to give. That same old crowd was like a cold dark cloud that we could never rise above. But here in my heart,
All right, welcome back to the show. And I think we have a previous guest and a future guest, Bill McLeod, on the phone. Hello, Bill. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. How are you doing this morning?
Great to hear from you, Bill. Having a good day.
Yeah, I was listening to your program, and I think Michael was pressuring you to understand why we all don't think good, or we all don't think the right way. We don't think it because earlier in our life we thought good and bad, and that's part of this civilization. And I think what your dad is teaching you is how not to lean so much to the good and bad, but lean to the, not to the bad side, but lean more to the good side. And I think in this society, it's very difficult, and that's why he's teaching that show, the Truth Only show, to try to bring you away from all the different thoughts and ideas that were not right to teach people in the first place, and try to give you teach you how to be free and how to learn the truth. And I think that's where the problem comes in with most people. And they are perfect, like he said, but they don't know it.
Right.
They're looking at themselves as being imperfect.
Bill,
Because
that's
we taught that. You know, your argument, if you talk, you can get in an argument with anybody today or tomorrow about you being perfect or imperfect. And they're going to naturally say, oh, nobody is imperfect. I mean, nobody's not imperfect. Nobody's perfect, they're going to say. And I think that's what the thing. But we are perfect because, if, like he says, you follow the Christian religion when they take the Bible, God said everybody was good.
it says it right there.
He made it. Huh?
It says it right there. Everything that he made was good.
Was good.
Right.
How did it get bad then? Where did it go wrong?
Some bad thinking, Bill. Pretty bad thinking. We've been taught some pretty false things all of our lives.
Right. Yeah.
That's why I say we have the most intelligent audience in the world, because there are people with an open mind that want to know the truth about themselves, and you're one of them, Bill.
Right. Hey, I've enjoyed it, and I've gotten great benefits from it, and you know, I'm just glad to pass it on to someone else so they can get the advantage of it as well.
Right. Might as well get started.
That's all I wanted to say. I don't want to stop your whole show, but I think that's what it is. We're taught good and bad from an early age, and it's very confusing, and that's why we have the problem.
Well, yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and. If for all you seniors out there, or anybody really that wants to hear, go online and search for Grandpa Speaks. You're going to get some great information on his show. That was the host of Grandpa Speaks. Mm-hmm. So check it out. You'll really enjoy it. Mm-hmm. Thanks a lot, Bill.
Thank you much for that plug.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye. All right. So one thing that you mentioned before the show to me, you kind of touched on it, but you didn't really tell the whole story.
Yeah.
A story that I've heard the phrase, but I never really knew the story or knew exactly what it meant. You said the 11th hour.
Yeah.
Could you tell that story and what it means?
Yeah, well, it's in Scripture. I mean, I'm not go into any detail about it, but the most basic part about it, I believe it's about a king that had, or I don't know if it's a king, but a landowner that had people working for him. And on one day, they were all working. People that started early in the morning started working early in the morning and worked all day. And there was one of the persons that came in in the last hour or so, but he was paid the same as all the rest, and that's in the Scripture, and it talks about that. And I know for a long time I never really understood what was the point about it, but I do now. It's so clearly, because the whole Bible really is about thought, about your thought world. It's about, actually, I'm going to be honest with you, the Bible is about you. That's what it's about. It is about you, the whole thing, all of it. I mean, and to finish off on that story, it means that at the 11th hour, it doesn't matter when you change the way you think, whatever you change to, you will be rewarded the same as anybody that's thought that way, has been thinking that way for years. You will get the same reward. In other words, if somebody's been thinking good things and living a better life because they think good, you can change at any time and you will get the same reward that they do. It's about your thinking process. That's what the whole story about. That's what the whole Bible is about. It's about you, the thought world. I mean, well, think about it. Think for all you out there that have dabbled into the Bible, think about this. If you are made in the image and likeness of God, well, then you should take in consideration everything that is talking about God being a creator and being so good. You should consider that if it's talking about God and you are made in the image and likeness of God, it is also talking about you. The only difference is in the scale or the size. We're creators of our own world. God is the creator of the universe, of everything. But you are made in the image and likeness of God, which means that you also are a creator of your own experience, of your own world. So when it's talking about God, it's also talking about you. And then if you still don't believe what I'm saying, read Psalms 82:6, where Jesus says, "Ye are gods and sons of the Most High." How much more evidence do you want? I'll give you some more. He said, "With faith you can do greater works than I." Why haven't we all been taught these things before? That's what I started asking myself years ago. How come I've never been taught what those things really mean? Why? Why didn't I ever attend a church where they're teaching me? Why did Jesus say, with faith you can do greater works than I? I've always thought that he was so special, so different than all of us, but he's not claiming that at all. He's even saying if you have the faith the size of a mustard seed, you can move mountains. He's talking about us like we're pretty incredible of ourselves. But I can tell you what's happened. We're being taught all these false things. That's our problem. That's why we suffer. That's why we struggle in life. The truth needs to be taught. That's why we have this show, to teach the truth about you, who you truly are. You are made in the image and likeness of God. Our only problem is we don't believe it, and we've never been taught what it truly means. That's our problem.
And is that what the false beliefs are?
That's where we get all our false beliefs. We're judging by appearances. We see all this going on in the world, and then we judge ourselves by what's going on in the world instead of learning the truth.
Well, we have a question from
yes,
an email, and it says, any theory on why our Creator doesn't speak to us, or maybe he can't communicate how we do?
Our Creator doesn't speak to us. Well, here, let me
Or
just.
do you even think about it that way?
I don't. Well,
as a person.
No,
to talk to.
as a person, no. I don't never think about it as a person. When they tell me God, I don't see a person. Think about it like this, though. If you say, I'm not going to say our Creator. I'm going to leave that up to you to decide. But think about it. The person that has his mind open to something new, a greater idea, a greater possibility, the ideas come to him. Why do you think we have all these inventions? Because there's somebody that's thinking something different than the rest of us, something new. His mind is focused on something different, and the ideas come to him. Now.
So are you saying that's the form of communication?
Exactly. That's the form of communication that I believe that we have. You have access to an infinite intelligence. And I've always heard the Creator's an infinite intelligence. You're not limited. Nobody is limited to what we can learn and know and understand. Scripture says that there will be nothing hidden from us. Think about that. But here goes back to what you believe about yourself. Here it goes again. It is done unto you as you believe. So if you keep believing that you're not creative, if you keep believing that you can't come up with something new, something different, something better, if you keep believing that, that's where you're going to remain. But why is it that the people that have their minds open, I think of anybody. I mean, the guy from Apple, what was his name?
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs. He just kept coming up with more and more and more, obviously, because his mind was open. We're not limited to ideas. That's why we have all of our technology today. We have it because of people that have their minds open. The people that keep their minds closed don't ever come up with anything new. So do we have access to a greater intelligence? Of course we do. But with your mind shut down, rephrase the question, yes.
Do we communicate with
Yes.
higher intelligence?
Communicates with us, yes, because I said, the Bible said there's nothing to be hidden from us. So I chose to have a more peaceful life. I choose to experience more joy, and I searched for it. What did Jesus say? Seek and ye shall find. Look how, you see how it all begins to come together when you begin to understand truth? Mm-hmm. I started searching for more peace, more joy, more better relationships. I'm well on my way, experiencing all of those things now. More intelligence, more wisdom. I'm experiencing it more and more all the time because that's what I'm searching for, and that's what I continue to have. Now, the person that wants to know, do we have access to our Creator? Well, you think about it. Is that access to our Creator, or is it just what? Name it, call it whatever you want. The point is you have access to greater and greater potential. We all have it. It's not available to just some. That's just ignorant thinking. It's available to all of us, everybody. It's a matter of knowing the truth. That's it. Knowing the truth and knowing that everything is available to you that is available to anybody else. That's the truth.
Well, I think that we're pretty much out of time for today.
Right.
But we would remind you to go to truthonlyshow.com, and hopefully we'll get our video situation figured out. But for now, there's still plenty of episodes on there that you could find one that you like and share with somebody. That's truthonlyshow.com.
But you can also go on your computer, and for sure you can get all of our shows. I think we're only having a problem with iPhones, because that's what we have, iPhones. But I want to remind you that if you have or know someone who has an irregular heartbeat, slow heartbeat, fast heartbeat, experiencing dizziness, fainting, or any other symptoms like related to that, we highly recommend that you call the brilliant, and I mean brilliant, Dr. Trong Duong. He's an electrophysiologist, and highly recommend him. His phone number is 877-773-8664. I'm going to repeat that, 877-773-8664. And I want to remind you that you're listening to the David Paul Band. We recommend that's one of his original songs. And that you go to davidpaulmusic.com, check out the calendar for a great night of entertainment, and we may see you there one of these nights. And thank you all very much for being with us. And remember, check out truthonlyshow.com. And have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.